Hello, hello. Happy Sunday, everybody out there. Good morning, everyone. Not because it's 10 a.m. in Southern California, but because we're also early to the metaverse. Today we have our usual suspects in the building. How you doing today, Jesse?
I am well, man. I'm well. I'm got through chatting with my mom for Mother's Day, and yeah, it's a good Sunday. It's nice and sunny here in Amsterdam. I'm happy.
Absolutely. What
Very
about you,
nice.
Ray Veezy?
Well, I'm still bleeding out. The market's not good. I've just been over here, but Mother's Day is lifting me up. So yeah, it's
Medic.
hang in there, everyone. Lean on family.
Right on, right on. And how you doing there today, Fancy?
Doing good, yeah. And to the Europeans that are scared, they forgot Mother's Day. It was in March for us, I believe. So doing good, yeah.
Right on, right on. Yeah, you got a good point there, Ray Veezy, about the markets, but it's it's that just how the cycles run, like you have a couple years of good, you have a couple years of bad, and the good is better than the bad, fortunately for a lot of us, if you're in the right in the right markets. um were you ready to take us off with some news, Fancy?
Yeah, I can do. So we have a couple follow-up stories today. One of them is that the US Treasury has sanctioned a currency mixer related to the Axie hack that happened a while ago. So yeah, it's good to see more things happening in the background. We want to be safe with our investments.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know about something about the U.S. Treasury doesn't make me feel any safer when they get involved. You know,
right.
Yeah.
it's so interesting. As I've been diving deeper into creating this course about the metaverse as whole, and really like doing lots of research on blockchain and decentralization. And it's the death throes that we're going to see of the traditional governance models, that that blockchain is going to give us opportunities to explore a new way.
Hmm.
And you see these big entities, and corporations will be next with DAOs, where they're feeling that threat, and so they're going to do lots of things to try and maintain control any which way they can.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
Yeah,
I think
this
we've
is just
talked
a
about that
sign.
several times in the past. Yeah, go ahead, Ray.
No, this is just a sign to me that they're trying to, like they have been for a while, just catch up to everything that's been happening, and getting their hands in the cookie jar to then also benefit, and then I guess have more control. Ultimately, that's what it is, because it's just that power struggle of people wanting to be more in control of their own lives versus being dictated and controlled by, I guess, the federal government, um, and the departments that may be. So, it's bullish, but at the same time, something I'd rather not see happen at all, because we could get into that
Indeed.
whole situation. But yeah,
Well,
it's a either or.
big changes tend to have there's a lot of upside as far as opportunity, but there's also a lot of danger. A lot of times if there's a big change, a lot of people usually get hurt too, so that's always a part of that little recipe. I caught some article. There was another one of those South American countries that needed help from the IMF, and a lot of those South American countries have been going and accepting Bitcoin as their legal tender lately.
Yeah,
So it was
on that.
interesting to see the IMF get ahead of this particular country and say, "Hey, yeah, we're going to come help you. We're going to come bail you
Uh,
out, but we need you to sign this here on this line here, saying that you're not going to move into cryptocurrency like your neighbors." You know what I mean? And I
right.
thought that was pretty interesting. So it's funny because it's almost like they're admitting that it's a problem, but at the same time they're going around saying it's not a problem, and
Mhm.
you guys are, it's just a scam, and you guys are the ones that's going to get hurt. But at the same time they're like, well, we're not going to give any money out if you if you got your foot out the door, kind of thing.
Yeah, we see Argentina banning. Just what, the other day or yesterday, I think it was. There was
I
two
think
banks that
Argentina is the one I was
custodied.
thinking about. Yeah.
Yeah, so there was two banks that were ready and publicly, making it available to custody Bitcoin, from its citizens, I guess, to have it
Hmm.
just use it in whatever ways they usually do with fiat. But then the government all came around out of nowhere and just said, this is now, illegal Bitcoin in the whole country, and you can't do anything. So
Hmm.
that's it for Argentina. I guess now hopefully in South America, we have El Salvador, who made it legal tender. So you're having this divide almost of like who's really pulling the strings when it comes to these countries, and those inner workings of relationships, or the revolving door between big corporations and then government and special interests, lobbying groups, and the whole nine.
Yeah,
I think
it's
a
Go ahead,
lot of
Jesse.
them will begin to change their tune when they see the benefits that are offered to other. I mean, that's the case with any technology. Like, a lot of people think like, oh my God, the idea of Neuralink, I'm not going to connect my brain to, to the internet. But it's like, people say that, but then again, we have the latest generation that's only known devices their whole life. And so for them, that's a logical next step. And the moment they do that and they see benefits from it, other people are going to want to follow along because of the opportunities not afforded to them. And I think we're going to see the same thing in other countries, where those that choose not to will then look to the other countries near them beginning to prosper and have new opportunities because of it, and all of a sudden begin to change their tune.
Yeah,
You made a
for
good
sure.
point there. Oh, go ahead. You got something fancy?
One of the most interesting things about this story to me is it says they use the funds to generate revenue for its unlawful weapons of mass destructions and ballistic missiles program. And the thought of these cuddly little axes being traded in for it's quite funny to me.
It's terrible. Yeah, I think back to your point, Jesse. It's one of those things as far as because the older people who are usually in charge making the rules are going to be uncomfortable with change, obviously. And it's going to be the younger people adopting it that always forces the hand of the older part of society to accept new things. I'll never forget when credit cards came out. My grandparents both were completely against. They had their credit card, but they would not use them online. They would use them over the phone. It was a big deal. No, we do our things with checks. We don't trust a credit card. I remember that very specifically. And so I, kind of set me up to be more accepting when I saw Bitcoin, obviously. But that's the way things normally roll. And then all around the world too, you have a lot of countries are trying to get off of the dollar now. A lot of countries are looking for a way off of the dollar. They're talking about making their own currencies again. And you're always going to have Bitcoin there in the background. Like you said, several countries are accepting it already. So I guess we'll see how that all moves.
Well, then, as we've talked about before, and one of the things that I think was driving Cardano is the fact that they chose to target developing countries that, for the most part, couldn't even afford bank accounts. Just to have a bank account was too expensive, but yet you got a smartphone, you have a digital wallet, you have cryptocurrency that allows you to now have exchanges of value that cut out an intermediary as a bank. So there's a lot of driving forces around the world that are making it so that it's the next evolution of what value exchange should look like.
Fun fact, since you brought up Cardano, Cardano has a token on the Cardano network, kind of like how you can have all these different tokens on Ethereum. You can do the same. Cardano's another layer 1 for people out there who don't know. And anyway, they have this thing called World Mobile Token, and it's basically a crypto that's based on them dropping towers throughout Africa to get satellite service. Basically, they're providing cell phone coverage across Africa to kind of leapfrog. And they're doing it through crypto, and they're doing it in order to spread Cardano across Africa. So, those are things that are moving around. In the States here, we couldn't even buy into it, obviously, because they don't want us touching stuff like that. But people overseas can probably get some of that action. What you got next, Fancy?
So, there was this interesting partnership, I guess you'd call it, Budweiser and Zedrun.
Yeah, I caught this yesterday on Twitter. I have Zed horses, and they were tweeting out that the Clydesdales are coming. Budweiser's tweeting it out as well. It just kind of reminds me, if you look in the background there, you see the Budweiser signs up it's kind of like a metaverse kind of look, and it just reminds me of Ready Player One, right? I think you're going to start seeing this in these games. You're going to start seeing these major brands wanting to advertise where people are spending most of their time. So this is going to be an interesting effect, and it's also going to allow for some more liquidity to come into these ecosystems as well. So if the right project gets it right, this will be something that'll possibly flow to the early adopters or the NFT holders or whatever of these different projects. So it's an interesting thing.
I was thinking a lot about like what are brands going to be doing to enter the metaverse, and what is the right way to do it? Because we've already seen examples of the wrong way. We've already seen pushback from communities with the brands that they follow, saying, "Hey, don't bring that to us here like that." And I think that one of the ideas that most brands should probably consider is to look at the NFTs that have done well, even the ones that are PFPs. It kind of represents a culture and a club. So rather than trying to sell them to their community, they should probably start to look to use it as kind of an ambassador program and reward the people that are out doing stuff to market for them, to use word of mouth to kind of share things that they like about the brand, and start recognizing people within their community that are natural influencers, organic influencers, rather than just folks that are getting paid. I think that that's going to be a natural way for brands to actually enter the metaverse, where it's a lot of mileage when you can get someone to wear your brand on their being and people see that, or have it as a part of their whatever, their land or something that they're proud of. Like there's some brands that we know, like if you're willing to wear the rock the tattoo, the brand has done well with its community, whether it's Apple or Harley Davidson. And so I think it's going to be a different approach. I went through this with a lot of clients over the years, getting them to adopt social media long before they even saw the benefit in it. And it's going to be a similar but different approach for the metaverse.
Yeah, those are very strong signals that make everyone more interested and bring more eyes onto the space in general. So
yeah, I guess moving on to the next story. This one goes back to August, the start, where Juno, a blockchain on Cosmos, had their airdrop, and one specific user managed to game the system and get a bunch of tokens that he shouldn't have had access to. It was quite interesting because they decided in the end with Proposal 16 to hard fork the system back to a time when this was all fine and he hadn't abused it yet. Yeah.
How do you do that without, because there was obviously a lot of other activities that happened on the chain concurrent to that time. So if you roll it back, you're not just rolling back that one event.
Yeah, that's why it was such a big decision. 40% yes, 33% no. And so there's another part of this story that came about recently, and when they were after they've done this hard fork, now it has they've made an error. They sent 36 million to the wrong address, and nobody has access to the funds anymore because it's just a random address. So yeah, these guys can't catch a break.
Wow.
Third time's a charm.
Did they call tech support?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, really. Code is law.
Yep.
That's brutal.
So that might mean another rollback. So yeah, good luck to them, really.
Elephant in the room on any time somebody does a rollback on any project is that lets you know that the project is not decentralized. So it's not possible to roll back the Bitcoin network. You know what I mean? So, that's always obviously a project has to start off centralized in most cases and then later become decentralized. Most cases you can't start off like Bitcoin did, but it's just something always to think about, especially when we're dealing with these governments coming into the space as well.
Yeah, and originally when this airdrop happened, he got 120 million worth. So when that all went down, it the price tanked with it. And since they cannot access any of these coins anymore, instead of the guy who pretty much gamed the system keeping them, they just toss them into the void unless they go back again. Yeah, very interesting story.
Yeah, rough times. Especially during the times like this, as the overall market is just trending downwards. It's not cool, but more luck to them.
So yeah, that was my last news story for today.
Oh, was it? Okay, right on. Um, I see Lycan in the background here, so
A warm welcome.
I'm not
Drum
sure. I'm
roll.
not sure if you can hear me. I don't know if it has the sound up.
You can hear you.
You good?
Thumbs up.
Okay, there we go. LycanWarlord. There we
Look
go.
who it is.
And if I do, hello.
Hands on the holsters.
At long last, man.
Hands are up.
Welcome,
Hands
welcome.
Hands are up.
Hands are up.
It's a pleasure to have you here, man.
It's a pleasure to be here, guys. Thank you for having me.
It's great to see you, man. Great to see you. You've been doing real well in the space here lately.
That depends on who you ask.
True. Very true.
Well, I think you're amongst fans over here, so I think you're
Well, I
going
appreciate
to be okay with that. I'll
At
never
the end of the
forget.
day,
go ahead.
I just want everybody to have a good time. So
Yeah, I know. Your videos on your channel have personally helped me with my Townstar earnings, so I appreciate you for that. I had a couple of assets sitting, and I went to go try to play Townstar to make a little something off them, and I couldn't get past the whole gas thing, and so I had to go watch your videos and learn how to set up a town. So you're doing major work in the space, brother.
quick story on that. First of all, I'm glad that I was able to help you. And every time someone thanks me, I'm like, it's almost weird, like a weird emotion. I don't know how to handle it because I'm used to people complaining about me, not thanking me. So it's like trying to learn how that works, right? But it was the Bad Crypto Guys podcast. They had me on, and Carrie had asked me to go talk to him about Townstar, and we're going over stuff. And one guy had like 4 sugarcane stands, and the other guy had like 400 something worth of towns worth of boxes, and they were just sitting there. They weren't using them. I'm like, guys, this was like when town was like $1 or something. And I'm like,
yeah.
guys, listen to me. After this call, like I'm not joking. After this call, please talk to me because y'all are you're missing out on a lot of money a day.
Yeah.
People don't realize. I mean, just a couple of a little bit of not a couple of dollars, but just a little bit of money per day adds up over the course of a month to something pretty fat if you're consistent. A lot of people don't realize that. And like when I got in, town was 80 cents. So you were a valuable.
We'd like to think it's going to go back up, right? So I mean, honestly, even if it doesn't, as far as I'm concerned, it's free money.
Mm-hmm.
My computer's going to be on already, so it's not like I'm paying extra electricity for it. That may not be the case for everyone, obviously, but
Hey,
let's look at the graph. Yeah, let's talk about that.
yeah, but before we do that,
of it.
do you hey, who is this guy? Like, who are you? Where'd you come from? Please give an introduction for those who might be watching that might not know of you, because you're I'd say an asset to the community as a whole. So yeah, just for those who might not be understanding what's going on right now. He's preparing. And action.
Good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you may be. It's LycanWarlord.
The stash.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tim, aka LycanWarlord, aka the Stash. I am just a guy from Louisiana who found about Townstar over a year ago, started playing it, was confused beyond all recognition, and I said, "There's got to be something on YouTube, right? I can YouTube how to steal a catalytic converter. I'm sure I can YouTube how to play Townstar." So, sure enough, there was barely anything, and the only one that I found of use was a guy that was in French. And while I knew enough to kind of understand what he was saying, at the end of the day, I could see what he was doing. And so I was able to sort of emulate it. And from that point, I said, well, you know what? I can't be the only one that's looking for information on Townstar. And I certainly can't be the only one that doesn't know French. So I just started making videos about my experiences playing. Like, this was my build. This is how I did it. And it's sort of snowballed from there. People like you, Bonafide, where you didn't know how to play, or there was some video of mine that helped you figure out some key component to Townstar, and then allowed you to move forward and start doing play to earn, or I literally am just a guy, and I just happen to be right place, right time, or fate, destiny. I have a proclivity for explaining things. And I'm super passionate about Townstar and Gala, and I have a mustache, so put all that together, and here we are. This is it.
Yeah, that's a really sweet background, green screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, listen, Walmart, man, it's hard to beat. It's hard to beat.
All right. Thanks for that
So,
background. Yep.
So, what's your gaming history? I mean, I know you played Townstar and Spider Tanks and the Gala games, but like, what was your first game and the games that really impacted you coming up?
So I remember playing a Road Rash on PC, our old Gateway. I remember playing. They had like a four-wheel drive like truck off-road game. I remember playing Need for Speed. But my the first experience with a video game that made me want to call myself a gamer was Diablo 2.
Okay,
I
there
remember
we go.
going over to my friend's house and playing that after school, and I couldn't play it here at home because it was the devil. So I had to go to my friend's house who didn't care so much. But yeah, World of Warcraft, I got into that real heavy right when I was in college. And honestly, other than Townstar, I've probably spent the most time playing Diablo 3.
Mhm.
I mean, I think I can speak for everyone here. We've got a Steam library full of games that we've never installed, let alone played. So I have those. I usually will pay attention to Opera GX is pretty good about. They have a little feature that tells you what games are free every day. So I usually pick up some of those free games. I played a couple of those on stream recently. And everybody comes on and goes, is this play to earn? Is this Gala Games? I'm like, nah, dog.
Yeah, you got a brand now, so it's
I know. It's
people
like,
are looking for you.
I get it, but I'm like, this looks way too nice for a crypto game. Come on, guys. Come on.
Do you have a genre that you lean toward? Be it first person shooter, strategy game, 4X.
Dude, I used to be pretty damn good at Modern Warfare 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Before they started turning it into a sci-fi fan flick. But I mean, I liked Titanfall, but I wanted Titanfall to stay Titanfall and Call of Duty to stay Call of Duty, but it didn't happen. I've always gravitated probably towards FPS and then RPGs, to a certain extent. Like right now I'm playing Elden Ring and absolutely loving it. And I feel like that I tried some of the Souls games earlier, and not that I didn't enjoy them, but I didn't have the time and or mindset to sit there and better myself as a gamer by suffering through those games. But then I came on stream and had people ask me to do a wine build with no NFTs in the desert, and I really realized what true suffering is, and that Dark Souls has no comparison. Like that was miserable.
Wow, I can only imagine. I haven't, I guess, dabbled in Townstar as much as I guess Bonafide or yourself have. Even I think Jess also jumped in, but
I'm getting my town coin daily.
Yeah, the main thing for me was that suffering of just time sink in the initial setup and learning what to do to then just get more efficient over time, which I didn't apply myself to yet. So, but
that's why I like Lycan's channel, because for me, I can go sit there and go through a couple hours of his content right quick and pick it up instead of spending all day trying to figure out how to build a town and recreate the wheel that some of the other people in the space have already started doing.
It's one of those weird things, right? Like for me, I want everybody to learn how to play the game. So I get a lot of questions. In particular, I have a deliberate gap in my content, right? I have like that intro, which is really difficult. And then I have my end build, which is kind of like where you're working towards, right? What you want your town to look at the end. I want you to learn the mechanics and fill in that middle void yourself. Now, I've been live streaming some of it, but I haven't been chopping that content into its own videos, because if you have the time to go seek it out, by all means do it. But I still like, I don't want it to be a cookie cutter experience. I want everybody to because I love the game. I care about it. I really enjoy playing it. So I'm trying not to just give everybody the answers, but I'm like, hey, this is the hardest part, right? Getting the gas. This is how you can do it. This is at least the strategy you should have to get to that. From there, work up towards this. And then I show you, the end build in particular. So a lot of live streaming more now and just leaving that content up because, I'm not here to fucking rob anybody,
Right.
I've had people ask me if they could pay me for tutoring. I said, well, just ask me a question. I'll answer it. You know what I mean? Like I've already given all the information away free. Why would I charge you now? Like, just ask me a question. I mean, my DM
sounds like new content, right? You can make another episode on it.
Right. Questions are in the DM. That's what I get. Yeah.
Right.
So a question I would have would be like, so a person that's never played, let's say they just discovered Townstar, do they actually have an opportunity to earn anything significant more than just a couple bucks a day if they don't have NFTs? Is there a strategy for that? Or, and I guess the add on to that question, does the leaderboard for people that are actually making big things happen, does that stay the same, or is there actually room for newcomers? Do people come in and shake that up?
So the biggest issue Townstar has had over the past many months, and this is post Galaverse, so we're like before Christ, after Christ, we're post Galaverse. When the town coin price was crucified for
for T, get the symbolism here. We're bringing it all together now.
I didn't do it to him, you know what I'm saying? But,
people in their town trying to turn their water to wine,
technically you do, right? The game itself is meant to be a competitive game. That's why there's a leaderboard in the monthly servers, which don't actually have a competition. And then you have your weekly, which does have the competition. Now, we haven't had a consistent weekly competition since January, at the beginning of January. And if you were to pull that graph up again, you can see what happened because of that. And in all fairness, it happened to both Town and Gala, because Townstar is Gala's flagship game. Mirandus is not out yet. Mirandus is not even close to being out yet. And the only games that are playable aren't actually from Gala. They're actually other developers,
right?
Other than Townstar. I mean, Townstar is their first piece of the
only
economy.
game. Yep.
Yeah. So you can look at December. We had Galaverse, right? And then there was a huge sell-off because, well, people were taking their cut.
So,
Go ahead.
Well, let's talk tokenomics on Townstar, because this is something we've talked about, but I think you have more knowledge about it because you're deeper in the ecosystem than any of us. So I've been watching these adjustments they've been making as far as Gala Power, Town Power, gyms, etc. And to me, this all looks good because nobody knows how to create a proper play to earn economy yet, and so it's all a sandbox at this point. But I see Gala. It seems like they're being kind of proactive and trying to come up with a model that's going to work in the future. What do you think about the tokenomics of Townstar and what they're doing at Gala as far as how they're changing the power in the gym? So you had a couple of questions that came up in the chat that were kind of talking about that too.
So also, I'm going to finish this question real quick. Yeah. Essentially, right now, with the weekly competition, which we're bringing back right now for Mayhem, someone can pick up the game, watch some videos, maybe learn how to play it, and have a chance to win Gala, which therefore gets them in the ecosystem. But yes, the majority of people that are making the big bucks are those that invested money into the NFTs and are playing the game, not competitively, but enough to meet the requirements. And then their NFTs are earning them the town coin respectively off of that. So to your point about what they're doing, I am much better at spending money than I am making money. So I'm one of the last people you need to ask about finance. But what I can tell you is I had Lindoko on the other day, who does have a financial background. And right now we've just been making town coin and just putting it out into the ether, and people have been collecting it, right?
Right.
And up until recently, your Gala power level was dependent on two things: how much Gala coin you have in your inventory and how much town coin you had in your inventory. So to get a higher Gala power level, it was 2 times as efficient to have town over Gala based on their formula they were using. So people were just holding town because it made their Gala power level higher. Well, then they announced they're removing that feature without giving town any function. So we're like, well, then the coin's going to have no value, because what's the point of having it other than just saying I clicked collect, right?
Right.
So if you look at the graph, they have not had a consistent functioning weekly competition since the highest spike you saw back in December into January. Like since then, it's just we've had nothing to go off of except more NFTs, and that was the biggest issue. As far as a burn mechanism, obviously the ability to remove coins from circulation means there's less of them. Less of something means they're more rare. More rare usually means more valuable. But it can't just be one of the things they've talked about. It's got to be all of it. They have to give out less. They've got to provide a mechanism for it to be useful in game, not just keeping it in my wallet to make my Gala power level higher, because obviously now that doesn't matter. And give us an ability to burn some of the coin. That way it reduces the total supply, and thus again, making it more valuable. So as far as the way they're going about it right now, I mean, if you go on the Gala Discord, it's not pretty.
You're right.
People are went from, for instance, for me, open disclosure, right? I'm not Mr. Heidi Hyde anything. I'll go ahead and give you guys a different view of my beautiful face. So if I were to click on my right here, you can see it says I've earned 163.42 town points. So this is a new change they implemented. And the best way to think of it is the circle around that town points, right? That's the total pie of town coin that they are going to mint today.
Okay.
That pie. Your town points is your town pie slice. So the more NFTs you have, the higher your town points are. So your slice of the pie is dictated off of how many points you have. So obviously I probably got above average. I'm way below a whale, but I've got this Vox that I'm still borrowing that is 82 points. So that brings me up to that 163. So let's say they mint 1.7 million town coin today. I'm going to get 163.42 town points percentage of that pie of that amount. If that makes sense. So it's not like an even scale is the problem. It used to be an even scale. It used to be your town points equaled your town coin you got. Now your town points gives you a slice of the pie. So obviously if you've got more town points, you're going to get a larger slice of the pie. But the pie itself is actually dynamically shifting based off of how many people claimed the day before. So that's the other difference.
Has that generally been lower? Lower? I mean, when it ends
so far, yeah. Let me look at mine real quick. So I was collecting 163.41. The first day it went active, I went to 95.92. The next day was 95.9. The day after that was 95.87. Okay. So it's been slowly shrinking. So there is the article they had posted about it. They showed a graph, and it's a very steep drop graph, and then it kind of tapers out after 2023. But essentially, they're going to be going from minting somewhere over 1.7, 1.8 million town a day to less than 700,000 within the end of the year. So we are going to see this huge drop off. The thing is, nobody expected it to be almost half of what they were getting, right? And that boils back to the biggest issue that we've all had with Gala is communication. And it's easy to say that while we're all talking on a podcast together or live stream. Like, obviously, we're trying to promote communication, and it's not always radio silence with them, but it is certainly more difficult to get their attention in the Discord, which is the main mechanism of communication with them. So,
right.
It's one of those weird, like, yeah, they're there, but most of the time you're not going to. Maybe they might see your comment, but they're probably not going to respond. So you're stuck feeling like you don't have a voice. And that's where I fall in. I'm the voice of the majority of the community. And so it seems anyway. That's what they tell me. I don't know.
What do you think about and I don't know if this is in stone yet, but it sounds like after May Mayhem, they're going to release the dragons, and the dragons function.
Oh, no, the dragons are in now. I'm using mine now. Yeah, I'm using mine now. Yep.
Okay, and so they don't provide any town coin, but what they do is they free up gas, which is like probably the biggest changer in the entire game to be able to eliminate the need for the truck. What's the impact on that?
So let's use Blue Steel as an example, because that's the build that's currently the best to make right now. Blue Steel sells extremely slowly. It sells the slowest of all the builds. So you could get away with one oil pump making gasoline for you versus 4 or 5 for a different build, something that you're selling more often. So essentially you could eliminate not only the fuel tank, but the refineries, maybe an extra power plant or two. No. I mean, that's all space. And we're all equal on the playing field of we have 16 by 16 square to make our town. So any spot you can free up is an advantage if you choose to use it. You may not use it properly, and then it doesn't do you any good. One thing I can always tell you is the neater your town looks, the less efficient it is most of the time. Right. There's some things where you want it to be a nice straight line of roads, because there's one thing in the game is you can't control how fast the building workers are. So, for instance, the fabric plant worker, she walks as fast as she wants to walk, and that's it. You can't really like upgrade her speed, which is something I've talked about. Would be a great use for, is being able to upgrade speed of workers in the game, right? Burn it that way. But what do I know? So you do that with a dragon. You've just got that's just it. You don't need 5 or 6 different buildings that you needed before. I mean, that's 5 or 6 buildings. You can add another mine. You could add another power plant. You could add another storage building. You could have another steel mill, like just with blue steel alone. So the dragon is certainly great.
Does that make another build more desirable, or is blue steel still it?
Right now, yeah, I don't think it would have like I don't think the dragon would help a wine build or a cake build enough to bypass a blue steel. I still think the way they did the main adjustment to the new meta, where iron only requires 1 lumber, 1 water drum, 1 energy, that's such a huge buff that it basically has made iron, you could almost do just iron as your rush instead of
I'm doing just iron right now.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, like on my build, I'm actually just selling wool and iron, and I have been for the entirety of the competition. If you were to look at, I've got $128 million. So that means in 5 days, basically, I've made that much just selling iron and wool. So that's plenty of enough to redo my build and finish off blue steel. I just haven't done it yet. I've actually been like a real person and living my life.
But for a build like for yours right now, I guess based on what iGuard was sharing there in the comments, that the dragon wouldn't even make sense for you because you can't automate it.
Yeah, so that's the other thing is my guy that's doing our script, Crypto Dude, by the way, shout out Crypto Dude. We got to get the auto sell dragon in, but so let's say it's not in effect for Mayhem. Fine. Once it's active, yes, it's going to provide a significant advantage for those that have it, which would also lend me to believe that most people that have them probably have other NFTs and they already have an advantage on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, not having to. So, for instance, what we're talking about, right? Okay. Well. Oh, Windows has this shake feature. If you shake the window, it disappears. Windows. All right. So, like, I wouldn't need this building. 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 That's 4 buildings right there. I would need one of these. I wouldn't need one of these. Like it allows you, it opens up some doors for you for sure. But that's kind of where all the NFTs fall in anyway, is that they're giving you an advantage in the game. Whether, like, for instance, this water tower is providing more passive water than a pond can. This Snoop NFT provides water like a pond, but I don't have to pay anything to place it. So I can put the pond anywhere I want. It doesn't cost me what the pond costs to make.
Oh, wow.
So, there's advantages. The wheat stand, that's the one I've used the most probably in all of my videos. The wheat stand passively produces wheat, which autofills your feed mills, which makes producing feed for your animals much faster and easier. And that's usually how I sell wool to make cash. But again, if you look at my rate, I'm making 4 iron a minute, 4.5. So every 2.5 minutes, I'm selling iron. I mean, that's pretty good. Especially if you're trying to build up your town, trying to get gas production.
Question
that's a lot, man. We can go on all day. So yeah.
Question from the chat, Lycan.
Yeah.
So Rob Mega here is asking, what would you say the top 3 builds are? Blue steel being number 1. And just to piggyback on that question, how often do these builds rotate? As far as I know, the number 1 build has changed several times since I've been involved with Gala.
So blue steel followed by probably cakes and wine. So they purposely nerfed wine by adjusting the amount of points that it's worth. So they didn't really change much of the actual mechanism that requires you to make wine, but they made the points less, which therefore makes it less desirable. I would say this: stick with blue steel. All you need is a mountain. It doesn't matter if you're on the desert, doesn't matter if you're on plains, doesn't matter if you're on forest. You just need a mountain, and you can produce anywhere from 8 to 12 blue steel, and that should get you top 1,000 most likely. It's one of those things. Cakes is extremely hard to balance, as is wine, and that's really your only other options. I've seen some people trying to do uniforms, but they nerfed uniforms extremely heavily. So really and truly, just everybody's doing blue steel is what it seems like.
I do have a question. From your experience, are they nerfing these particular, I guess, methods with these ingredients, whether it's wine or the uniforms, for a particular reason? Like, were they, yeah, like, because I'm not in the ecosystem as in depth as yourself or Bonafide,
So
maybe.
to refinish with what Bonafide was saying, as far as how often, we used to have 2 weeks of vanilla. So what were like the base level of what the game is. So with no true nerfs or buffs, just kind of like how the game is. And then we'd have 2 weeks of a new meta. So for instance,
Gotcha.
1 week was energy. So as many batteries as you could produce, right? So essentially people were just doing windmills, right? Wind turbines. So that was a whole week of that. And those are the weeks where someone can just come in and get a good shot. If it's a new meta and we haven't had months and months of practice on the particular meta, then it's kind of a level playing field. Yeah,
Right.
people with NFTs are going to have an advantage, but they're not going to really necessarily know what the build's going to look like. So they're going to be just like you, trying to actually figure out what the hell they're doing.
Right. Cool.
But yeah, as far as why they do what they do, it's because they don't listen to me. If they would listen to me, everything would be so much better. No, I think here's what I think happened. They came out with the Snoop Pimp and Ride NFT, which produces passive iron. And we'd never had a passive iron NFT before. And that broke the old meta. So I guess to nullify the Snoop NFT, they just made iron easier to make. So I think that's where they were going with that. And in doing so, making iron easier, they made Blue Steel once again the meta. So if you look at it, Blue Steel, Cake, those are like the top tier 4 products or whatever they call them. Uniforms was a very viable build until the Snoop NFTs. You could place really high with uniforms. Uniforms are used to make Blue Steel. Like they shouldn't be better than Blue Steel if you think about it that way.
Right.
But you were able to make uniforms faster and more of them than you could Blue Steel. Blue Steel was like a 6 Blue Steel an hour kind of build. And there were people doing 160, 170 uniforms an hour, which ended up being like 90 something thousand points an hour or somewhere in there. Like there was a lot. So I think that's where the shift came from. They were trying to undo the damage that the Snoop Iron NFT did. It's still extremely valuable and extremely potent. You could just make oak barrels now as a rush, actually, instead of doing anything else because you have the iron already. Because the thing with iron is you got to have the mine. You got to have, like, we'll go over it. For those of you that never made iron before. So to make iron, you have to have a mine. Okay, well, obviously it's a mine. Now, that mine needs lumber, energy, and water drums. Now, this mine is not going to get water drums from this water pump like your power plants do, or your lumber mill does, or your refinery does. You're actually going to have a water facility, create a water drum, and put it in the warehouse. So you can see here, they're going to grab water drums. You're also going to have a lumber mill making lumber. So that's all costs that you would have to eat to get iron production going, right? Versus the Snoop NFT, you just place it down right here next to the lumber mill. And if I were to stop him for a second, to make oak barrels, which by the way sell for $55,000, all I need is oak, iron, and 1 energy. So all I would need is 1 wind turbine making him energy, 1 water facility making him a water drum, and then the Snoop NFT, and I'd be making oak barrels.
All right.
So it wouldn't take you that long to get to oak barrels, and therefore you'd be selling $55,000 worth of oak barrels extremely quickly. So that's really where the Snoop NFT kind of broke the game. Was that this took a lot more to get going before, and now it's a lot easier to compensate for how easy it is to get the Snoop or the Snoop NFT makes it an easier process to get iron going.
Right.
So that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Do you think they learned from that? Did they commented at all as far as like learning a lesson from introducing an NFT and it breaking the game and having to basically nerf stuff?
Are you asking me if Gala admits mistakes, sir?
Get him.
We couldn't just ask you that up front.
Hey,
we had to.
We'll leave it at that. I like
it's quite
it.
interesting to think about how Gala reacts with like nerfs and buffs, because like in future with Miranda's, like what if 1 exemplar is like really overpowered or they shift the meta somehow?
Yeah.
Are you trying to tell me that Mirandus isn't going to be perfect when it comes out?
That part, right?
God, man. FUD.
That part right
FUD,
there.
FUD,
I'm out of here.
FUD ban.
Right, but on a little more serious tone, it is a concern that I guess even outside of Gala Games and any other ecosystem and projects that are being built, it's a constant ebb and flow of just nerfing and buffing and testing and breaking and But at what point
So-
is it? Yeah, go ahead.
Let's read the comment that was written out about what happened in the competition, which is still going on.
Yeah.
Now, and it shouldn't be, in all fairness. In my opinion, they should have stopped it. We are sincerely sorry for any frustrations that you may have experienced this week. After much consideration, we have decided to continue on with the competition until its scheduled end time. So they didn't admit they were wrong, but they did say sorry. So I guess that's supposed to count. They went on to explain why it was happening.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, that's a vibe I've seen quite a bit. They'll apologize, but they won't, say there was an error.
Yeah, well, because they would have to admit that they rushed out the code again, or they didn't test the code properly. That's what happened when they brought the competition back before. We still had bugs in the game. And actually, I've had someone send me, you can go find it in the Townstar bug reports. People were reporting rollback issues before they started Mayhem.
Mm-hmm.
So if they truly check bug reports, then they would have known that their bug was happening. So either they don't check bug reports,
or they don't care.
It can only be one of the two. Which one is it?
Absolutely.
And that's where it comes down to is whether they can legally say investment or not. We all know it's not tongue in cheek. It's not backdoor deals. People are investing money, time, effort, energy into this game, this ecosystem, and they're not getting not only their return on investment for their time, for their money, but it also feels like they care less and less. And I had the last video I did where I said it doesn't feel like they care. One of the devs DM and he's like, man, that hurt my feelings that you said I don't care. I said, I know you and I know you care, but I'm speaking for everyone. It's not just me when I speak. I may be speaking from my perspective, but I am channeling what I hear from the community.
Right.
And you guys have got to get that through your head. Like I'm on
Same
Team
as
Gala,
us.
but I'm telling you what you guys need to do to appease the beast from my perspective. So either you don't believe me or you don't want to listen to me. Which one is it?
Yeah.
Why would I lie to you? If
Right.
I was doing good, I'm going to do good. Why would I not,
Exactly.
That part right there.
There's a lot of community members who've been, I guess, along the way since day one almost with a lot of these big, Web3 gaming companies, right? And even in Axie Infinity, and it's hard, maybe, or it might be more difficult for a project and its developers to discern or know whose intentions are more pure and not just based on how long they've been with a project, because they might just be in it for financial purposes and just to extract value and maybe not contribute constructively in a way. And then others might just be there solely because they are wanting to help the project develop alongside the people who are developing the project and put information out there that's going to help and guide the project in a way. But if you're one of the few people who actually care and are known as in the community not selfish in the way of just trying to get more views on your YouTube channel or rustle the bushes to just make more money, or I don't know what these developers might think because of just how the space is growing and evolving with scholarships and things, then it would behoove them to just not use you almost as that funnel of information for the masses who are feeling these things that you're just trying to communicate. And similar to Rome, as we do here, we're not taking shots or throwing shade. It's things that we're witnessing through our own experience, right? And then that what we hear through other people's experiences. And it's all the same game. Everyone's trying to maybe do the same builds. We're all in the same ecosystem. We're all in the same Discord. It's not like there's a pandemic of emotion, right? It can happen. We see it all the time. But these are things that, like you said, if they're checking the channels of people who are trying to help a project grow in the right way, then it's either one of those two. They're not checking it, or they might not just care enough.
Well, yeah. And the thing is, okay, we say they don't care. Okay. We're defining care as making the correct changes, right? So you may care enough to check the Discord, but if you're not, really listening to the Discord, or the Discord's being so heavily monitored that you don't really maybe see things that you should be seeing that would help the positive changes happen. It's a perfect storm, man. I was on Faz Radio last week, and they had, I've talked about it before, having a council of elders or a voice of the people, whatever you want to call it, and just have, leaders from all the guilds, people that have been part of the community for a long time, have a round table, right? And we bring up issues and come to an agreement, make it an odd number so that we can always vote on something and have pass, some sort of resolution or suggestion. But if you can't listen to us and the community has said these guys represent our voice, then how can you say you're listening to the community?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, Bitbender took those questions from me, and I mean that. But why did I have to do that? Why did I have to just go be a troll in the Discord to get Bitbender's attention?
Because
be like, hey, bro,
that's been my experience as well for as long as I've been a part of the community, is that the response that comes from Gala, the primary purpose, in my opinion, is to put out fire. It's not necessarily to say, hey, we really want to work with the community and understand what you guys are saying, and then we're going to respond because that's what our objective is. My experience, and as unfortunate as it is that they're building a business, they're going to make money, and the community is a necessary part of that, and they'll respond in a way that puts out fires as best they can, but it's not like that's their ultimate objective, is to hear what the community's saying and to build based on that.
Right.
So let me ask you, Lycan, what do you think as far as what do you think as far as the long-term outlook for Townstar, and we'll just go ahead and throw in Gala games in general. They have several games coming out. We've spoke about Miranda, Spider Tanks, etc. But more particularly as far as Townstar in particular, if you're coming into the game right now, looks like we possibly are starting a nice bear market, so we might see more bleeding out of token prices, things of that nature. But NFTs will probably get cheaper as well alongside that, right?
Right.
Would you want to get in, putting your money into the game right now, or would you want to come in maybe just to play for free, or would you just leave it alone at a time like this? What are you thinking? And let's go, bear market, and then also we know that 2024 will probably have another bull run, so things will probably be looking nice again then. So long-term outlook as well, but the next 2 year and then the long term.
I really need to see what happens in May Mayhem, because that's what brought me in last year, right? And I stayed around because I enjoyed it. I stayed around because I was having fun. I stayed around because I was learning things. I stayed around. I've never been here because of money, and I'm one of the few people that I think can genuinely say that. I'm here because I enjoy playing the game, and it's given me the ability to help people, whether it's videos or giving away NFTs. Like I've given away so much because I want to help the community, because I want to keep building the community. I don't know what's going to happen with Townstar if they can't learn from their mistakes. And that's what I was hoping would happen when they brought a 3.5 day competition back for no reason other than they said to test the server, test the code in the dev server. That's what it's for. Right. So I think there was probably a rush. I'm going to go ahead and assume from the head boss benefactor himself, we've got to make Mayhem. We got to make it work. And then it comes out and it was atrocious. It was horrible. Worse than before. And what do? They push through it. Why? Because it's Mayhem. I don't think they can allow their pride to be hit enough to admit. And I worry that their pride, just like Rome, will be the downfall, right? They need to be able to take criticism and use it constructively. If without that mechanism, I don't know how far Townstar is going to go. I think they might just keep throwing projects at the wall until see what sticks.
That raises a question that ties into that, is that the secondary market, I mean, people are still pricing, the Townstar NFTs incredibly high, so much so that based on where the price of Town is now, you would have to be an active and engaged player as long as the model holds up, and you wouldn't still see a return on your investment for 2 to 3 years.
I think if you're getting in now, it's because you either believe in the future of Gala Games or you genuinely like playing Townstar. I don't think anybody can with a straight face say that the ROI is worth it.
Right. Well,
I don't do ROI, but I mean, I'm not an idiot. I understand what it means. And I know what it represents, right. So if you're going to spend $100,000 on an NFT, you don't want it to take 100,000 years to get that NFT's return back. Right.
on the positive side, as far as crypto goes, in general, going into a bear market, usually there is no profit, right? And so those are the times when you see the projects that are really gonna, like Axie was building. The success of Axie was built in 2018, Ray, 2019. You know what I mean? Like way before the 2020 bull run.
Yeah, early 2018.
And so I think we have a similar opportunity coming now in the space where we're going to have 2023. I expect that to be a nice deep bear market, and then you'll have 2024, which will be another Bitcoin halving. So
yeah,
I mean, the projects that are able to survive during this period are going to be in a stronger position for the next bull cycle, but they have to survive. They have to make it through without.
I think that's the key, right? Is it going to survive? I don't see why it wasn't. If you look at the Discord, there's enough people in here that just seem either oblivious to what's really going on, or they just don't care. I care, and I don't. I mean, I'm going to be here no matter what. Until the game ends, I will be here. I'd like to think that Townstar can be the flagship until Mirandus comes out, as far as for the P2E. But if Spider Tanks does it better, Spider Tanks might become the new P2E flagship, right? It's certainly a much easier game to get into. It's certainly easier to understand. Certainly easier to pick up and play. And depending on how they do their P2E mechanism, it could be that.
Have there been
no
any
word,
hints?
no word on that yet, right? Yeah.
So the last I saw that they said is they're giving out the TC test, the Silk test coin.
Mm-hmm.
They will push out to true Silk test coin, or true Silk coin, when it's ready, and they want it to be ready as soon as possible. But they are not going to launch it until they are 100% sure that it's working and ready to go.
But do we think it'll be like tournament payout? Is that kind of the model for
right now? It's about playing and winning a day, and I think they start there, and then I think they could throw in win games with X tank, or win games with X weapon, or win X times of versions of this game, right? Win chicken rush, or I think they can start there simply, make it diverse enough so that you have to play more than one game. You have to, you actually play the game,
right?
But it is fun. It is easy to pick up, especially if you can team up, and especially if they make the mechanism for team matching better, where you can get 3 of your buddies together, or you can get 6 of your buddies together, and y'all can, like if you got like the guild, right? Get 6 of you guys together, and y'all just 3v3 each other until you get your town coin or your silk coin, right? That would be a possible mechanism, and it's not an abuse. It's just resourceful using of your resources. I guess I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, I must say that, like, overall in the space, to Gala's credit, and then even Axie Infinity's, they're playable games that are involved in P2E, right? If we're not calling it play to earn anymore, as the whole space is transitioning, these big companies that were doing it just for like play to earn, model, it's not the case anymore, and there's a big adoption of a new type of a way to market all of these types of things that's coming around the corner, like play to own, more so than anything else, right? Yeah. So ownership doesn't mean return on investment, where play to earn was I'm going to earn what I put in back at some point, right? So now it's just like no expectations to earn anything as far as your return back. And but I digress. I just wanted to make the point where there's not many games to play at all that earns you anything, maybe just not what you earned back. So playable games within Web3 with NFTs integration and all these things, I give Gala the credit. And for any other project, we see a lot of trailers coming out, and even betas that are coming within this year. This year is going to be phenomenal, and there's going to be way more things to play. We have big time, coming out. We have slots of games that are being able to be played right now. Even Undead Blocks. Yeah, so I see great potential, and there's like many others. It's just that at what point are the economies going to be the main focus, and not just selling more things to get more eyes on your particular ecosystem? Because then you're not going to last the test of time. You might have the most attention because of the marketing campaigns, but I'm feeling personally that Townstar is the carrot in front of the horse. And then when Spider Tanks, for example, becomes that successful play-to-earn model, which was built off of the mistakes of Townstar in a certain way, then maybe Townstar just gets left the way it is, and then there's a more focus on another game, right? Like, because how much time and energy is it going to need for Townstar to just be iterated all the time 24/7 with all these other games coming out. I don't know how much involvement any of the Gala game developers are involved in any of these particular games they're bringing on, like Spider Tanks, or is it just, hey, we made money for you selling NFTs, now you do your thing, and you're on your own timeline with some expectations of us as Gala
It's
games.
supposed to be separate teams, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, right? By the way, shout out to Comedia. Those guys, I met them at Galaverse. They are on their shit. Like, man,
Nice.
Everybody on their team was like I remember meeting them, and like that was really my first time like watching Spider Tanks be played, and I'm like, dude, they got it. Like, why can't Townstar be like this? And I'm like, oh, because Townstar is actually made by Gala Games. No, I can see that, Ray, 100%. I really can. And that would hurt me because I care so much about the game, but I'm also a realist, and I think great examples. When I played Superior, I was blown away by Superior. That was a pre-alpha teaser test thing, and it was better than Townstar's ever been. I mean, it was ridiculous. So there's certainly more room to improve Townstar, of course, but they're announcing 20 plus games. So it really does feel like they're just going to keep throwing shit at a wall. Whatever sticks, that's what they're going to pony in front of the horse and let that be the carrot then.
And hopefully they don't let the others die in the
that's my concern.
In that luxury. Yeah.
So that raises another question. Back at the beginning of the month, Benefactors said that there are currently 28 games in development. Of course, we only see about 10 of those on the site itself. Of the 10 that we know of that are on the horizon, I guess there's 3 that are playable today. Are there really 3? They say 3.
Yeah.
3.
Well, Townstar, Spider Tanks. What else?
You got. Well, you've done playtests of what Superior as well as
so Superior, Town Crush, Legends Reborn.
Oh, Legends Reborn. Yeah, Legends Reborn and Superior, the other 2.
Yeah, we've only played 5 games so far, right?
Yeah.
So Walking Dead so far in the distance. Miranda's, we had that pre-alpha. We don't even want to count that.
Yeah, Miranda's doesn't count.
Last Expedition, we have no new news on that since Galaverse. Legacy, that's hopefully he doesn't take the money and run. Echoes of Empire, I would imagine that might be next, or Fortitude. I think we might get something on Fortitude pretty soon.
Fortitude's looking like it's getting closer. Yeah.
Do you have is there 1 or 2 games that stand out that you're excited about in that lineup?
I mean, honestly, Superior has been my definitely
FPS.
Their dev team was super interactive during their playtest. I live streamed it a bunch. I did videos on it. I got stuck in the map. I was stuck. I couldn't get out. I went into the Discord live on stream. I said, hey guys, I'm stuck. One of their devs came on my stream, saw where I was at, recorded it, and they're like, hey, I got you. You can restart the game now. Nice. So like that kind of interaction, that instills confidence in me and their willingness to make the game better. They want this project to succeed. Not to say that every developer doesn't want their project to succeed, but I don't see that kind of level with everything so far. Spider Tanks is on their shit. Superior's on their shit. Legends Reborn blew me away. I wasn't expecting to be that good. And I used to play Magic in high school. I loved it, right? I did some videos on that. It's a very slow game. I'll say that. That's probably the only downside I see is a match could take up to an hour, depending on how close you guys are. So I don't know if anybody wants to sit there for an hour playing one match. So
is it just the pace? Is there anything about the style of gameplay that can be fixed, or is that just how it is?
Maybe if they speed up some animations and maybe cut down the player timer, it's possible.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely a slower paced game. And I mean, it was fun, but if I'm trying to grind out my play to earn for the day, it might take me 6 hours.
Right.
I don't know if everybody's got 6 hours to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was my only concern with that. But as far as the way it looked, it was really, really cool. The visuals were great, and it was fun. It was fun.
So what's your favorite? You got the games. We got the 2 that are out now, Spider Tanks and Townstar. What's your favorite out of those 2? And then what's your favorite like overall? On the board.
I mean, I love Townstar.
What are you looking forward to?
I love Townstar. I mean, I look forward to Miranda's. I just hope it actually is what we want it to be. Right. Spider Tanks is fun and it is enjoyable, but I don't see myself grinding it other than just to do my P2E. Like, it would be what most people are playing Townstar for, just to get their town coin. Like it would be me playing, because it's not my thing. Some to say, like in all fairness, Superior is a roguelite, so there's that randomness and repetitiveness of it, but the story was intriguing. Like I wanted to know more about this world, and these superheroes are bad, very The Boys-esque, where superheroes are evil and they've been taken over kind of thing. So I'm a sucker for a good story. The Echoes of Empire seems fun. I mean, that's one of those. How long is it going to take to P to E on that one, right? We don't have anything in our hands, so we don't really know what their gameplay is going to look like. Other than with the little, like the screenshots you see here, right? If it's a chess match that could take 3 hours, again, it boils down to practicality, right? We see that all the time with Townstar. I want to play to earn within a no more than an hour, right? If I
reasonable time frame,
yeah, we don't have 17 hours a day like I do to play games. So, I mean,
especially if you're not earning,
Yeah. And while they are fun, there are other games that are fun, and I'm not being told I'm gonna make money off of, and then I don't. But you're right. I do own the Fuzzle, and now it is my friend.
Did you get a Fuzzle? You're gonna surprise me if you got a Fuzzle. I'm like, don't play. It's in the like, and I thought I knew.
All right, fuck out of here. Out of here. Now, that said, I've been battling in the Fuzzle Discord. I got blocked by like 6 people yesterday.
I saw it going down yesterday. I saw. I was laughing. I put some laugh emojis on your.
I'm like, bro, it's like, I don't like when he talks. Block. I'm like, okay, that's. You're not hurting my feelings, man. Like,
you're amongst friends here in Rome.
Because in the Discord, by all means. Yeah. But I think the problem is, and this all ties back to the same issue. Post Galaverse, not only has Gala games not been the same, the ecosystem has not been the same, and most importantly, the community has not been the same. It has been a downward trend, just like the graphs. And that's why I think the graphs continue to be a downward trend. The argument that I got a lot yesterday was that, well, it's following the crypto economy. Can you pull up what the Bitcoin graph looks like and then compare it to the Townstar graph? Because I'm pretty sure they're not the same.
Yeah.
So you can't use the argument that it follows that graph when you look at that graph. Look at that graph and then look at the Townstar graph. Look at 3 months. Compare the.
Well, not only that, but the utility is supposed to be very different between the cryptocurrency market and the play to earn games. That's the entire point, is that you're supposed to be able to decouple. If you have economic activity within a game, that should be able to decouple from what's going on with these other countries. So if you don't have it fixed, you don't have it fixed.
It's decoupled. The Gala in town are doing their own thing, which is
and a lot of these tokens, see the overall market with the top 10 to 20 cryptocurrencies, if they're not gaming Web3 niche type of projects with their own utility tokens and utility tokens, right? What's the utility of any of these tokens that have a 2 model, whether it's a governance and utility, right? We always see the same type of downward trend. There's just too much downward pressure and not enough incentive to hold a token to do more things within the ecosystem of the game itself. So Bitcoin, overall, it might impact any chart to go downwards if there's macro, downward pressure for whatever the macro is out there in the world. But overall, it's the project's team and their economists that hopefully are on the topic here and developing the economy in a way that adds more utility, more burning mechanisms for the tokens, and to help that micro economy of that token in the game be sustainable, right? It doesn't need to be a stable coin, right, where it's always pegged to $1 and you could always know what you're going to cash out every day. We're not asking for that. That would be great, but that's almost maybe not that's probably not possible, and what we're not going to see for a long time to come because of the transition of the whole space as a whole from what we were doing just a year ago, which was like making bank from selling the tokens, extracting all the value from this utility token, or what utility is there but to sell the token to make your money back from initial investment. Right. So it's not, we're not blaming Gala or anyone in particular. It's just I'm
blaming Gala.
What I mean by that is that there's blame on the project
Right, no,
developers
it's
for sure.
the end consumer it's the graph is directly reflective of the end
Right.
consumer, but the end consumer is acting based off of what they're seeing from Gala. That's what I'm saying.
And it's almost black and white at this point, where all we're needing now, and with the help of the community, like you've been doing, is suggest ways to fix this. and so they don't have to be overly complicated, but it does take time on the part of the devs to make these things happen. I'm not a dev. I don't know how long it would take to have these syncs, built in, or to create some new type of.
Not 5 months.
Not 5. Yeah, 4 to 6 weeks maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I give a month.
Yeah,
I give them a month.
Yeah, but that's my whole point, where it's just like it's changing to play to own, and then whatever the economy becomes based off of whatever new syncs or economic strategies that are implemented, we'll see, right? But it's almost that of what these projects are becoming, and very few of them are really honing in on making the economic sound for a longer period of time. I wanted to touch on like Pegaxi too. I forgot to mention it earlier on, because the Viz token, we see this with Smaller Potion, we see this with the rent to breed model. Everyone is getting in first to make the most and then leave, because who knows how long it's going to last. We know Gala is going to be around. They have the money to just keep doing the exact same thing today if they didn't even change anything with Townstar, right? But does that mean the community is going to stay the same way? Like, obviously not. There's some type of
there'd be a whole lot of the veterans leaving and a whole lot of new blood coming in, and then it would just be they drain the new blood and then they leave because they're pissed off, and then the new ones come in. Yeah, I mean that's what I. And
that's the key, is that they got to retain some of that old blood while bringing in new blood. That's the key to a functioning economy. You got to have that growth. So. And
that's what it boiled down to with Town, right? Is there was no function for Town,
right?
So now they're giving us a function with gyms. Great. They're going to give us a burn mechanism. Great.
Mm-hmm.
But the game's got to fucking work, and it's not. And that's all cool in the gang that you got this thing coming. But if I can't play the game, if you can't bring back what made Townstar so popular and functional, and why the NFT economy was being driven so high, was because we had a weekly competition. There was a reason you could just pick up the game, play, and get into the ecosystem. And I literally had that conversation at Galaverse more times than anything else. Lowering the barrier to entry.
Mm-hmm.
Lowering the barrier. Get more people in the game. And that's what Mayhem is supposed to represent. Mayhem is supposed to be like, hey, guys, check out what we've got. All you got to do is install the game and play it, and we're going to reward your time with some of our token. Come join the ecosystem. And they can't even do that because it's rolling back.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man. It's one of those.
Now we've had that same issue with when we talked about like just a setup for like Miranda's and stuff like that as well. Like the clear picture of somebody being able to come in free to play and build themselves up in the system to a point where they're able to play and earn. We just weren't seeing those steps there yet for Miranda's, or for like you're saying, like for Townstar, I guess as well. Then,
I mean, if Townstar was where Miranda's was when I got in, I'd be blown away with the way it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But it was working, and now it's not working.
Not working as well, right? Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, this is a 1 or 2 week thing. It's been since the beginning of January. It hasn't been working.
Yeah.
So
one of the things that, and I don't know enough to know this is the case, but one of the things that occurs to me is that you've got a very market driven side of the company that says, hey, we're doing this cool stuff with Snoop and music. What are some of the ways that we can create some NFTs that get people excited about having them, and doing that first before thinking about the consequences of changing all this meta within the game? And that's an afterthought, which means they got to come back and clean that up. So they keep creating messes and worrying about the cleanup later, only to fix squeaky wheels when people make noise.
Case in point, the Snoop NFT for Townstar that Lycan was mentioning earlier, and that they had to basically nerf the ecosystem a bit to adjust for after the fact.
Right.
So right on.
Again, they don't ask me.
Moving on, is there a LycanWarlord guild? And then also, going into that, and then go into your previous guild experiences, good and bad, and what you think the future of guilds are going to be in this new space.
So, yes, many moons ago, someone was like, "Why don't you make a guild?" And I was like, "That sounds like work, so no." And then I had someone go, "Nah, fam, I got you." So Here we are. LycanWarlord Gaming. It's its own server. 1 second, guys. I got a phone call from my son.
Yeah.
Hey, bud.
You're famous now.
Say hello to the people.
Greetings.
Hello.
So I'm
Future
on
of gaming
a
right there.
video right now. Can I call you back in a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Did you get your phone working?
Yeah. Make sure you get your children involved.
No,
If
no,
you're
Early
listening.
early adopter.
stop it.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna call you back when I get off this call. Okay.
Right.
All right. Bye. Love you.
Bye, love you.
So that's my son. He lives in Maryland.
Nice.
Oh, his mom. So the guild, there's NTM, there's Jim, there's you guys, Haven. I wanted my guild to reflect me as a person in the community, how I act, how I am. So while I'm all about competition and I'm all about, us doing well, it's a place where you can come not be censored by Gala, and you
Right.
can come learn about the games and talk freely and share with each other. I do a lot of giveaways based off of the guild. I want it to just be a place where people can come feel maybe less pressure, feel like it's a safe place from the storm of other places. All I care about is that people are helping each other. So whether that's sharing builds or renting out NFTs to each other, or I think some people are offering scholarships with skins and stuff like that. But it's not through me. I'm just giving people the meeting space, right? And someone was saying earlier, Will Bike, actually, by the way, shout out to Will Bike. He and I go back and forth on the Discord, and it's because we both are sarcastic to each other, right? So it works. But he DM me and he goes, "Yeah, man, I think you have like the most people in the tournament, the most number of guild people participating."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Man, it's just the only reason I am who I am is the community. They have given me the power that I
Right.
have,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
if I can give back to them in any way, shape, or form, I'm going to, because without them, I am nothing." As far as previous guild experiences, I want to say I had some with maybe World of Warcraft back in the day, but it was always just kind of my friends and stuff. I've had some very verbal and public discussions against certain guilds in the past. BTB, listen, when money's involved, people are going to do things that I think they probably wouldn't do otherwise if there wasn't money involved. Okay. We're going to leave it at that. That said, I have nothing against them, but I calls them like I sees them. And there are people doing things that I don't agree with, and I will continue to not agree with. As far as where I see things in the future, I forgot who it was. Somebody, maybe it was Benefactor. It was somebody. No, somebody had said they liked the idea of guild wars, right? So guild only servers or guild competition servers or stuff like that. So the future, it looks bright for the guilds, and if they had some official aspect to the game, that would be great. I can monitor those in my guild who want to cheat, and I can kick them out. Which we have somebody we're suspected of right now. We're gonna keep looking at it, but the thing is, I can't control. Let's say you were a nefarious person and you wanted to hurt me in some way. You could put LWG at the end of your town and then cheat, and then you get you make me look like a cheater. So
Right.
there's no way for me to control that mechanism right now. So if there was a way in game, that would be great. But yeah, I want to be a place where people can come speak freely. Again, you have to be polite. You can't attack people, right? That's the basic rule I ask. Follow the rules. Like how to join my guild is a very simple process. Check the pins. That's it. It's simple.
Right on. Well,
and
we'll go ahead and get you in our comments as well here, so people can know where to find you.
Yep.
Can we got the YouTube channel up here, and then do you want to give your Twitter or your Discord or anything like that?
Let me get you guys the Discord join link real quick.
Yeah, shout out to the chat. We'll be discussing Star Atlas here shortly.
Yeah, so I saw a couple people said hello. Who was it?
In our chat, a lot of people spoke to you.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Rob Mega, hello, Rob Mega. How you doing?
Yeah, you have a lot of fans with us.
Listen, hey guys, if I missed you, I'm sorry. Someone else said like it. It doesn't just. I'm on Discord. It's easy to find. I'm gonna do both things. I'm gonna
It's all good.
DM you right now. That's the Discord link, and then obviously this is my actual Discord. My Discord is open. If you're trying to get a hold of me, ping me in something. Like just DM me, ping me. Doesn't matter. Because I've got 600,000 notifications, right? Like I can't get through everything, but I do check DMs first, and then I do check notifications first. So if you're in a public chat, if you're in Discord chat, Gala's Discord or my Discord, just ping me. That's how you get my attention. I don't want people to think I'm ignoring them because
No, I was actually surprised that you actually responded when I hit you on Discord, because I know, like, I've had guys come into our guild Discord, the Rome Discord, to get in touch with me because I didn't see the friend request because it was buried or whatever. So I understand what you're going through.
I try to be as accessible as possible because I know what it would feel like if I was searching for information and somebody just ignored me, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So last question before we move on to other games and stuff like that. So as far as the future of the LycanWarlord YouTube channel and your future, your personal future in professional gaming, now that we have play to earn as a model it's obviously in its infancy, it's not so viable yet, but going forward, what are your hopes, expectations, aspirations on the future of becoming like a professional in this space where this is what you do for a living?
As long as I'm still able to help people, whether it's Gala or Axie or Diablo 3, I mean, it doesn't matter. My goal right now in life is to help as many people as I can. What I would like to see happen is once we get rental come out, get a nice little group of people to help rent out NFTs to as many low income people as we can that are playing Gala that can somehow get connected to Townstar and play and earn and help earn some US dollars a day that'll help change their life. I'm going to keep being me. And I mean, I just hit over 5,000 subs yesterday, or the day before. I was at 1,000 in November. So it's really kind of blowing me away.
Nice.
Yeah, you're doing work, man.
I'm going to keep being me. And I think if I can create a ecosystem around me being me and that helps people, then that's where I'm going to take my success from. I would love to be doing this all the time. I'm in school right now. Once school's over and I can give all this its attention that it deserves, pumping out maybe some more efficient content, that I would love to be able to do that. But the only reason I'm here is because of the community. So I have to give them all the credit and props for that. And, at the end of the day, if you don't like me, it's okay, because you're allowed to not like me. And people, I think people have a hard time with that, right? You're not going to be able to please everybody, but I know at the end of the day, I'm me, the guy you see right now, the guy you see on the videos, the guy in the Discord, the guy on the live streams. That's me. So if that's something that you enjoy or at least I'm somehow helpful to you, that's all I can ask.
Well, you're amongst friends here with us, man. So all good with that. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. Ray's been kind of giving me the stink eye the whole time.
we've all
computer's
watched you in the space.
There it is.
And it's funny because in the Rome Discord we talk about, like, we're obviously fledgling content creators as well, but we talk about all the other content creators out there obviously all the time. And it's always interesting to see who the guys like and who the guys are kind of not interested in, but you've always been a fan favorite. So yeah, we shared your links and everything in the chat. So everybody reach out to LycanWarlord and support his channel. Great content.
Like, subscribe, guys, right now. Click the like button, click the bell notifications.
Smash.
Bam.
Yeah.
You never
Gala, Townstar, Spider Tanks, and whatever else, right? You're welcome to hang out, though. This isn't a dismissal, but I know you got other things going on, so you're welcome to stay here.
That works out perfect. I'm going to go call my son, so that works out perfect.
Okay,
guys.
Cool.
Shout out to everybody. Thank you guys for having me on. Anytime you guys want to talk Townstar or Gala, I would love to shit on them publicly, so it's fine. Anytime.
Well, any previous guests always have a open option to come back and see us anytime.
Absolutely,
so
guys.
yeah, definitely, bro.
So appreciate
Great
you guys.
talk.
Take care.
Cheers.
Thank you,
Later,
brother.
man. Thanks so much.
Right on. So
Luckily, we have many other games that are in this ecosystem. So it's not like Gala Games needs to be the sole game to talk about. So that's always a plus.
I would say, like, the game that I'm curious to see it roll out is going to be the Fortified. Or then they changed the name of it though. Doesn't have it's Fortitude.
Fortitude now. Yeah.
So it's gotten that little bit of makeover. But we talked about how we thought that was kind of next up on deck. They dropped some sneak peeks and things like that within Gala Gold. However, the one marker that usually defines a launch for Gala is a whole bunch of NFTs being sold, and we don't see that yet. In fact, if you go to the store there now, all you see is the one level 1 arrow tower that's sold out. So I think that as we get near to a launch, we'll probably see a bunch more sold. And that isn't sold out right there. Gala's thing is that they list a bunch and then they take them down, and then they still have a bunch in their wallet, even though
put them back up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the artificial scarcity business model is what they're doing there. It's they're gonna sell out. You can't buy anymore. Oh, we reopened it. I think the Fuzzle, they opened it, closed it, opened it back up the next day, I believe. I'm not don't quote me, but it was something like that where they had like two wish we had Lycan still here. I think he probably know, but yeah. Oh, that's actually what he was talking about in the Discord too. Doggone it. But moving on to Star Atlas. You ready, Fancy?
Yeah, so we did get a really cool video this week, and shout out to the club for like compiling it into one thing. So let's take a look. And it looks great.
Yeah, my jaw dropped. It's not the craziest type of video to watch compared to just what we get as far as releases for updates across the gaming space in general. But it's all coming together now, right? Like the realization of what we're going to be taking part in over time.
One of the things that it demonstrates to me is how fast and how much of a trajectory their development is on. Like if you look at the stuff that's been released over time, especially going back to, a major event that I think of is when they launched Score. The things that have been released since then for us visually are pretty amazing. And I've seen other channels that aren't necessarily within the Star Atlas community use clips that they've shared, like the one of the OPOD coming into the hangar. So they've come a long way for sure. And as I mentioned to you guys kind of before the show, it's like I bet there's a lot of people in the Star Citizen community saying, man, what the heck? You know how long we had to wait before we saw stuff like this?
Yeah, and Real Engine 5 is going to be that game changer of as far as development speed. Aside from the economy, which is a whole other beast. It's just nothing compares to it, especially Real Engine 4. So we're definitely going to see a speed, and as far as what we're going to be able to do sooner than later.
And the other thing that's cool about Unreal Engine 5 is like it's not when you see stuff like this, you're thinking like, man, what kind of graphics card and gaming rig build am I going to have? Well, it's as Unreal Engine continues to develop and get better, it's also utilizing less resources, which is pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool to see all the height differentials.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be one of those little guys. Hopefully, it'll help me in PvP. We'll see.
You don't want to be too little. You just go around staring at asses all day.
Smelling everyone's junk.
shooting from behind them.
Doesn't the med tech look great?
Yeah.
Looks origami to me, but it does look nice. Yeah, the colors make a big difference, so
they do.
I'm saying that just based off of it being just all white.
Yeah, it was really nice on the first part of the video, being able to see like the third person perspective on a like fully fleshed out model.
Mm-hmm.
We do talk a lot about like first person perspective could be a problem in Miranda's.
Right.
So it's nice to not have to think about it here.
And that right there on the floor is where a human body would be. Because this is like one of those I think this was the ship that we were
Oh,
speculating
is that like a
on the
med bay
tail.
thing?
On the
Yeah.
tail,
It's the
where,
evac.
right, the evac.
So basically, when I see this, like right there, that box that's on the floor, that would be like a one of the evacs. But on the back of the tail, it looks like they could hold about 4 of those. is
Yeah.
it? Something
Yep.
like that. So you
Clip
could have
on.
one inside if you're trying to, do some resuscitation or whatever if they really need it, and the other ones are the outside are just for transport.
Yeah.
Right.
And I paused it here in the middle of the PX6, and you can see all like the little annotations of what everything is. There's the kitchen, there's display screens, the table. Yeah, it's really cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
Does seem rather small compared to like what I imagined small would be. Yeah, I guess they're all like crammed in there together, so it works.
Yeah.
What do you guys think will be like, if you have limitations for how many people? Let's say, what if you tried to stuff like 150 people in here? Would it get off the ground? Would it cause issues with flight?
Possibly. It has to be that if it's going to be somewhat of a simulation of real life.
Right.
So it might just be much slower and spend more gas. Use more gas while you're going. Or you
That
can't
guy-
even take off unless you're in a seated position, maybe.
Right. Hey, that guy we saw in that room over there, is he in the shitter or is he a prisoner?
He's a
what is
prisoner.
that?
I think this is the PX6, so it has like a brig. That must be it.
Oh, it's the brig. Okay.
Yeah, and it's
That
bigger
makes
than I
sense.
imagined. Like it's all just like
Yeah.
tucked away around the corner.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's really awesome to see things like this from the team, especially the Thripped. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
there's one parked. Yeah, on the ground.
That clears up a lot of questions that I had.
Oh, front loads.
Yeah, how do you even land that? Based off of all
Right.
the photos we've seen in the past of it flying.
Okay, I'm curious to see what this looks like on the inside. Did they go in this one?
Yeah.
They go in the one behind it. They like fly up into the cockpit.
Okay.
It was always an odd looking ship to me. It's
Yeah.
interesting to see it sitting on the ground like that. That's even weirder.
Well, it makes you $1,620 something a year at the
Whoa.
current Atlas prices. So, if that means anything, then
Big
maybe you
things,
want to
baby.
pick one up.
Big things.
What? What's that? That's kind of weird. Huh. Oh, there we go. All right. It's got some style to it on the inside. Yeah. Is that thing like an atlas of, for navigation? That'd be pretty cool.
Most likely.
Yeah.
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 It's going to be interesting if it actually works like that, where you could actually go and interact with the map and stuff. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, those windows, like inside, look like something in a church.
Yeah. Mosaic.
Yeah, it's very awesome.
Yeah, this thing's legendary too. So yeah.
Yeah, like it's like competitor, I guess, is the Opal Bitboat in the same kind of like class. Like this is a fighter, and that's a transport, I believe.
Be interesting to see what it's like inside this thing during combat.
And because it's supposed to be such a fighter, and they've got, when you see the images of it in combat, you can see these huge, I don't know if they look like laser turrets, like 4 of them. So does that mean there's 4 stations where, hopefully you have a skilled
Right.
gunner? Is it
In each
something
one?
you do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hydroponics? Is that what that said over there?
Yeah.
You sleep in the middle
Gotta
of the
have
hallway.
gotta grow your food on the way, bet.
Right.
That was the last thing I would think. Thorpid would have some type of hydroponics
Mhm.
from its shape.
Yeah, it lacks storage, I believe, just because of its shape. But That's pretty much it. It's got loads of guns.
And so, that brings up an interesting point. So hydroponics is not something that's stock in that ship. So that just ends up so how would a module like that be interchangeable?
6 escape pods there.
I would think you would, if you're going to have hydroponics as a part of the game lore canon, then I feel like you got to have that on all the ships then, right? Like, what are they doing?
Or the smaller ships have to stay closer to like a bigger ship with it,
Right.
Which is kind
Exactly.
of cool.
Like
Yeah.
you're gonna have some kind of something if you're not doing it Star Trek style and just generating food on the spot, then you have to do something.
Well, and the reason I was saying it was interesting to see it in here is that the one ship that I'm aware of that actually has it listed as a module is the Guardian.
Mhm.
So if you list it, that means every one of those come with it, or as in this case, it's just where they happen to place a module, but you could always pull that out, sell it, place something in it, put something in its place.
I was always taking those as kind of like suggestions. So like they come with these modules, but you can swap them out for other modules if you wanted to, or certain modules you can swap out. Like I was kind of thinking that like the Rainbow Home, for instance, it has that art gallery. I was thinking automatically switch that out, but I don't know if that's possible or not for sure.
Yeah, there goes those turrets you mentioned, Jess.
Yeah,
the 4 guns.
We didn't see inside a manning station, or did we?
No, we didn't. No,
It was quite cool,
looked like it
though.
was just kind of wide open in there.
So maybe it's just a thing where if you're, in one of the pilot seats, you can use targeting, and then it just automatically targets them.
Yeah, and we replayed this first bit of the video because it's really cool.
Yeah, and this gets me going with, I guess, as individual first-person like shooter type of gameplay. We a lot of talk in the early days was just about the ships and space battling, but then I remember asking questions to about landing on planets and getting out of your ship, having your weapon class right on slinged over your back, and then what does that look like, right? Do we go into caves? Are we killing monsters on planets like to clear out some space for a claim, right? For like that's all things that I'm excited to do as well.
I'm gonna bring up this question from the chat. Christian Johansson. One thing I don't like is that SA Team said the Christmas video was real gameplay with someone landing the OPOD in the hangar. It wasn't true. If you look at the releases they have had since, annoys me. I could have swore we had Chipto, or didn't we have Chipto on here? He confirmed that was real gameplay.
There was someone actually piloting it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where you're coming from, Chris, but
yeah, and based off of what we've seen that they've released recently, doesn't necessarily dictate or mean that video wasn't real.
So here's what I think the disconnect is. I think that in that particular instance, they probably have different aspects of the teams working on different things, and so you do have those that are building out the ships, which means you also have to have someone that's focused on, well, how does the ship fly, how do the mechanics work, and of course they had an aspect of a hangar to fly into. Here what we're seeing them gear up to make the showroom this big huge display, and so you're not seeing a lot of stuff moving the same way. So I think that both are I think that it is likely and possible that someone did actually pilot that ship, and we're just seeing a much larger build out here for what is going to be the showroom. So,
yeah, I expect the flying experience to be something like that's going to happen maybe in a month or so when it's all refined and like the HUD is everything working, because it's not going to be as hard as like some of the flight simulators that require like a joystick, but who knows until we can play it.
Right.
All right, let's stop this video. So another thing that's happening this week is a community-made game called Two for Attack. Basically, it's a game that's kind of endorsed by a tournament with like NFTs from Star Atlas, empowered by Star Atlas. So they have all these cool rewards, and there's like a knockout period on the 14th where they're gonna give out prizes afterwards. So that's gonna be cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I can actually like play a bit, and we can like talk over it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So, what kind of prizes are we talking about from this?
Let me try and find out quickly.
This was put out by who was it? AEP.
Sprite Von Pixel and Rat of Doom. Yeah,
Okay.
it's cool. There's the post about it.
Yeah, Christian Johansson. Yeah, man, check in the Star Atlas Discord and talk to some of the mods and stuff like that. I'm sure you can get a official answer to your question, because I'm pretty sure there's been several official responses to that topic.
I can't find it. I'm just gonna go ahead with this.
That's all good. Yeah.
So at the moment, it's 20,000 is the high score.
Oh, I know what you're looking for. First through 10, it goes Agrica Mick plus Tufa Feist, 2 of them, and then it goes Agrica Mick, a couple of Opal Jets, Pierce X5s all the way through 10, and then a bunch of Temple Lobies are some of the prizes.
Okay. So what was that highest prize again for the number one?
Here, I'm gonna just I'm gonna drop this image in here.
Okay. Is it Agrica?
So yeah, and while you're doing that, this is just another game that's playable, right? Not the actual Star Atlas game, but something that a community is able to do and enjoy while we're waiting. So, DeFi Kingdoms just recently came out with a third-party grant system that they're going to have members build the games for the actual NFTs themselves. So this is not that you're playing with your NFTs here, but it's game related to the ecosystem that we're all a part of, which is Star Atlas. So it's good to see these things happening.
Okay, so the ship you win is the Agrica Mick, which is what Fancy's flying here in the video.
It's like the main character, and 2 for feasts are attacking. You can get health that drop. You can upgrade your weapon, and there's bosses every now and then. You can see like the health in the top left, the score top middle. Then there's the mega shot. Quite cool. So I've only got 200 points so far, and the top person is 20,000. So I imagine they were playing for quite a bit of time.
So these are
practice stage still. So
these are actually competitive ships, right? The Agrica Mick and the 2 for Feist, they're like the same size. They're both fighters, right?
Yeah, I believe small fighters. Soundtrack is really cool too.
Yeah, the music is great. These games are somewhat addicting, I'd say, in my opinion.
Yeah, I spent many hours in arcade playing games like this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Many quarters as well. Those poor quarters that are lost now.
So these little red coin things, they are health. So if you don't get them when you're full health, you can save them for when you're fighting a boss later, which may be useful. And that sparkly effect there, that's like an invulnerability shield. The bullets is like an upgrade to your weapon. It just gets crazier the longer you last in it.
One cool aspect of this is you can go ahead and just play this for free, right? And mess around and win some NFTs that actually earn you some Atlas token. Right?
Yeah, this could be the way you get into Star Atlas.
You get into Star Atlas through this, yeah.
And in future, you could even have like a little arcade where this is like a little mini game you can play while you're waiting for like a ship battle to start. That'd be awesome.
I was about to say, it would be kind of cool if Star Atlas would just add this on in, and you can play this in the space stations or something.
So I won't go too far with this. I think like the boss is at 2,000, the first one at least. I've only got 2,000.
What's your high score on here?
3,000.
Nice.
And 20,000 is what's on the leaderboard, or that's how you win.
Yeah, 20,000 is the top as far as the
The
leader.
top prize. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool the community did this.
This is what it's all about. I mean, during these, the bear market times, I mean, these are the communities that are going to last are the ones that are still building, and still supporting during the downturn. That was the success that Axie had.
Yeah, till this day, even though the market's down and some projects have gone through some exploits or hacks, you could pick one almost at this point, and they all had something going on. That the community is still around and supportive, depending on again what the developers do and what the team shares after the fact. So a lot of these projects that I've been in personally have turned the ship around, and I'm talking more so with DeFi Kingdoms at this point because of their recent exploit with the Jewel token. So yeah, they all had a. Well, we can continue talking about Star Atlas, but I just like. I'll touch on it later. I just like how these projects and the developers, they're here for the long haul. They have the money to do so, and they're transparent enough with the community, where you have community members doing things like this. Building out games, and the support is real.
Yeah, I agree. It's quite fun. I'm definitely going to try and win a prize because, yeah, why not?
We need more ships in our fleets.
Go Realm.
So yeah, that was the 2 for attack.
Right on. So I think that's it for Star Atlas, Ray. If you wanted to move into Axie and such.
Oh yeah, this is a couple of points. Nothing crazy. Let's share a screen here. Beep, beep. And yeah, so there's been some happenings around Axie Infinity, and there was a land staking Substack article that came out. So land staking is a thing. After much time and effort of holding land, you'll now be able to stake your land and earn AXS in rewards, which is always nice to see that projects are coming around. Although it was like pulling teeth with some projects and Axie Infinity to just, I guess, have it sooner than later. But we heard some rhetoric from the team themselves about how, just similar to what Gala did, or expresses with holding NFTs, it shouldn't be something you just earn from, but you need to do something to earn a reward instead of holding. So I agree that the space does need to turn into a skill-based action to earn type of like actual play instead of just holding something. But again, there needs to be a balance with the early supporters and all of what was promised or talked about for so long on a roadmap up until now. Where yes, we all understand the transition needs to take place, but maybe not so soon, or not as hard as it is happening. I don't know.
So staking is live right now, or it's about to be live here soon?
Not now. It's going to be soon. No exact dates, but
are you going to earn AXS or SLP, or what are you thinking?
AXS staking rewards will be given to people who own land based off of the plot and its rarity, off of the initial. So these are the amounts that you'd get. It's fixed in AXS, and this is based off of what the chest prices were on the initial sale of land back in 2018. So we have this nice image here that they dropped with all or most of the land items. So the quality is on point. A lot of people were excited about this. I am. And yeah, it's just about time that projects, the ones who have been around and are the biggest, Axie Infinity just hit and broke $4 billion worth of NFT trade sales. So, so the revenue is there. The economy is live. The daily active users are there. And that's something that a lot of projects are going to struggle with, is just having that large player base, so that they don't have to take resources and time and energy to build a community as well as the actual game. So if they have anything going for them, it's that community that's undying, even though you have some outliers and OGs that might be very vocal. with a lot of what isn't happening or what should be happening. It's not something that should be looked at, in my opinion, as a negative for much longer, because nothing other than just the macro and then also the bridge hack is necessarily looking negative as far as this project being a success and staying around for the long haul. You can't really say that about other projects who are doing the same like breed rental model. And like I don't want to name too many names, but every project is on a different level of funding and daily active users, and yeah. So this is what it potentially is going to look like on the UI, the front end, and yeah, and you can check this article out. It's a short one, but moving forward, I think it was here that I read. Uh, Yeah, as it specifically relates to land, once any type of gameplay for land is released that can support token rewards, these land staking rewards will transition to be rewarded through active gameplay. So, like I was saying, it's not something you just hold and now earn forever on, which is something I personally like to see, because this is just to, I guess, a tip of the hat to all the investors and people who have been holding land for so long. Yeah, it looks like a 1 to 2 year return on it. Not yeah, it isn't that bad for the land, but they had to make it uh, lucrative in that way because of for how long land has been talked about and how long people have been holding land in that first quadrant of 4. Uh, so yeah, if anything, it could be higher for these compared to the chess prices, but this is right in the middle, which is satisfactory. And so yeah, 1 to 2 years is not bad at all. If you're getting into land, the only issue here is that there's going to be more AXS that's going to be released, and then potential downward pressure. But if the token is hopefully finding a floor anytime soon, then I guess we'll be moving up from there. But you never really know. And I'm not an economist, so or a TA.
I tend to feel like floors are a ways away at this point.
Yeah.
I think we got 2023 will be a floor somewhere, maybe.
Yeah.
Not financial advice, and I don't know anything. Just saying.
Yeah, but definitely gives me confidence that Owl of Moistness, who is a prominent, renowned developer and smart contract writer, is the one working with the team to build out this this land staking contract, which is, from what I'm learning, a pretty simple thing to do. You hear all these developers talking about how to create these soft staking contracts, and they're not as complicated as everyone might think they are, or as a project might explain or try to explain that they are, because they're just probably not wanting to have people earn more of a token that they're not necessarily playing the game for. So, you take it with a grain of salt, but it's positive, in my opinion, for Axie Infinity landholders.
I have to kind of give like all these devs in the space a little bit of credit, because I think just things are so new that a lot of the devs might not necessarily be aware of all the innovation that's happened in the past year. Like I look at like what LEO Trades is doing with the imposters thing and how smooth everything works over there. And then you look at, even Bored Ape having issues, with doing stuff still. So
Right.
I tend to give everybody a little bit of credit. I mean, things are so early.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You branch out and you learn so much in other places that you're not getting from the initial project you're in, maybe, or have the biggest bags in. And then you start to question, which is normal. Like, why aren't they doing that? Let me ask. And then if you get treated in a way that is not community oriented, then you might take a different route as far as your investments. But as far as the game and it being playable, I'm grateful that there's something to play right in this space, and I don't have to resort to playing traditional games and then wishing on a star that somebody makes a game that's playable. Some people have different genres of game that they rather play than others, so I respect that. But yeah, talking about genres of games, we had Gary, uh, uh, and sorry, we had Grant, who is the executive director of Undead
Shout out
Blocks.
to Grant.
Yeah, shout out to Grant, and he was streaming live just yesterday. He does it every Thursday, and we have here just the beta coming out on the 26th. So it's if I put the volume up here, maybe you guys can hear it.
So what we're seeing is, about 5 or 6 weapons a day and getting staked, just more token continuously being staked every day, and I think that's a positive sign.
Yeah. So what's happening here is that he's just showing off the game. I have it on 1.25.
Pool, like
just put it normal speed.
1,500 undead tokens, so it's
And
90 cents.
He talks about the economy. He's answering questions, but this is just to show off some of the gameplay that he was playing. And yeah, the economy seems to be well thought out. I know the token came out just on May 4th, and you were able to stake those tokens to then earn a weapons pack that had various weapons depending on how many tokens you purchased and staked for different lengths of time. And talking about games that are playable, this one is going to be right up my alley as far as what I'll play.
And
you
say beta in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, there's going to be bugs. There'll be some nerfs and buffs to certain things, but it's all well and good. And you'd want to release something to test, right, and to have the majority of people play. But there's been a lot of testing that's been going on behind the scenes, and I'm just excited to be playing a first-person shooter that is, that's something of this quality in the space so far. So yeah,
first of its kind, right? I mean, I think Superior is going to be a competitor here at some point, but it's not here yet. These guys are going to be first movers. It looks like.
Right, and this is just for the tokens, where you get your APYs, and then as soon as you have the tokens purchased and staked, you get automatically the weapons pack in your wallet, which could be sold on OpenSea. So depending on what the prices are for the token, which I can't tell you right now, I don't have it pulled up, or what the floor prices on OpenSea, you will be able to rent those weapons. So that's pretty cool to other people. So depending on what you want to do, just play as yourself or become a renter of sorts, you can go ahead and do that. So I thought that was pretty cool. And moving on from Undead Blocks.
I actually brought up the graph.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So, again, a trending type of situation. I haven't, since the 4th, looked deep into. Oh, sorry. I haven't looked into the economy for why this took place, but just the sentiment in the Discord is pretty still bullish from the conversations I was reading. But yeah, I would have to look into that. But overall, in the long term, as the game gets traction and there's more reasons to acquire the token or play the game to earn the token, I guess we'll see how it goes. But they're launching soon. And then, I just want to hop over to DeFi Kingdoms. Shout out to Sandwich Punch and for the Inner Grove podcast. They cover everything DeFi Kingdoms. So there was a grant proposal type of program that was launched by the team of DeFi Kingdoms, and they had a huge doxing party of the whole team just the other day live after their exploit took place. There was a lot of mistrust happening and conspiracies or speculation taking place that had not only the token price go down and people sell off their assets because there was too many questions that weren't being answered, and then sure enough they were answered. The whole situation was kind of taken, I guess it was exaggerated, I think, for the most part by the community, although a lot of people were affected by what happened. And not as their money was stolen, but just there was more jewel being sold by a nefarious actor than others knew that they could do the same thing. So everyone was able to do this, but there was only a small subset. This article, this YouTube channel, and this specific YouTube video is one of with Richard, who made this third-party game that utilizes the actual NFTs of your heroes in DeFi Kingdoms. So you can go ahead and place a bet. You could place a bet on, based off your stats, whoever has the highest stat, you'll be attacking with that number. So, if you join up and you try to get in, you can do a bet of, I think it was $10, $100, and $1,000 of the in-game token, which is the gold, not the actual jewel token. From what I learned just the other day when I watched it. And this is just another example of programs that are being supported by the team for community members to build. And this is going to be iterated on, but the team is creating their own PvP and PvE for the NFTs themselves. So this is just like a sample third-party game that was created, and it's pretty cool. So I haven't played it yet. Been busy, but I'm looking forward to trying it out. And yeah, I had that speed 2x, I think. But yeah, and then I just keep up with the news like we all do in the space. But Nifty Islands is another game. The scarce land model type of metaverse genre narrative is being talked about more and more after Yuga Labs had their land sale with the Kodas. And yeah, they're just continuing to partner in different NFT projects or with different NFT projects so that their avatars could be 3D modeled to play with in the world of the metaverse of Nifty Island. We have World Wide Web who's coming out with a game. They're also another type of interoperable NFT game. And then also Webiverse, that's another one that's out there. And it's all there's a subsection of what we know as the land sale NFT projects that are happening, that's coming out now. And it's where you don't pay for land, right? There's an open world and there's infinite land, but there's a different way of how you're going to be able to earn money, and that's going to be through your activity and how much activity you could potentially bring to your land that you didn't have to pay for. So yeah, user-based generated content is a thing of the future, and it doesn't necessarily need to be through selling of land NFTs. But we'll see how it all goes, because this is something that needs to be explored in the space, in my opinion. Because all we know is make plots of land and sell them, and then build around that a game. So yeah, it's still pretty early, but these are the trailblazers of this section, or this category, the scarce land model. And I think that's it for me. Yep, that was it. Pretty short. Nothing crazy this week from me.
Yeah, cool. I've got some alluvium. There is like talk of the land sale. The date and time has been announced. So June the 2nd, 9 a.m. UTC. That's really interesting. Less than a month away now. Let's see what the market will be like when that arrives.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting, especially the way that they're going to be doing the release. It's going to be over 3 days. There's going to be 278 plots per hour. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. And they're doing it in the batches. So that's going to be interesting. And then they're also, I saw it listed here somewhere. Do you recall, Fancy, how much it drops each hour in price?
It'll be in here somewhere.
2.5% per minute for 2 hours. That's interesting. Huh. And the 5 tiers.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to be trying to get that as cheap as possible.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun to watch, especially if it tells you how many there is already left.
Yeah, I'm kind of aiming for a tier 2 on this one.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of a sweet spot for kind of value on this one.
Yeah, it's more expensive than originally I thought it would be.
What currency are we using to buy?
As it turns out, what's my reason to buy is because
what currency? What currency are we using? ETH, or are we doing an ILV or what?
ETH
starting price and ETH,
and SILV.
Yep.
Okay.
And so that's why I'm like right around. I should have enough SILV from staking right around the time it comes out, depending on, of course, what the market does, to be able to be in that second tier range. And if you I don't know, when you get back to the other screen, there's a section where it shows you what you get with the tiers, and it just kind of looks like the sweet spot there for value.
Okay.
It's a little bit down from that, I think. Keep going.
It's not in here.
Oh, it's up from it then. Yeah, it's a little higher. It's where they talk about the different elements on the site.
That is.
You don't have that one?
That's what we got. Yeah.
No, there's because I'm looking at it on my screen. Oh yeah. So it's that one right there. So, So yeah, basically with the tier 1, you get 3 different element sites, and you know the elements and stuff are essentially fuel and things that kind of are necessary within the game. So you have element sites and fuel sites. There's no landmarks until you get all the way to tier 3, but you also get a production boost of 33% on that second tier, and yeah, it ends up being twice as much of the element sites and 3 times as many as the fuel sites. But yeah, we'll see how many people are going to jump in and go after it. Man, they scale up in price something fierce.
Yeah, they do.
And then of course the 5th tier is going to be a
Talking about
live
a
auction.
Yeah.
6 digits on that.
Tier
right?
4
Over
starts
100
at
grand.
80.
Yep.
Yeah, I restaked my rewards, so it's not on the table for me.
Yeah, it seems like land pricing has just based off of Yuga, Yuga Labs. I know it. I think they did this before. I guess Ape or Yuga Labs said they were going to release some land sales, but the change is pretty steep as far as like the price. But I did want to share this morning that Karen today confirmed that we will be able to lend out our land and split the profits with a third party. So big news for the big gills out in the space. And then also good news for whales looking for a passive income. I certainly don't have time to manage it. So literally calling out any whales that are interested and maybe wanting to get whales interested because of the potential profit that could be made on both ends as Illuvium and these whales who are going to be getting in if they do. So, yeah.
Interesting.
So, you're going to rent your land out.
So yeah, that's it for Illuvium and ends our show.
Right on, right on. Well, it was great talking at you guys again this week. It was great having LycanWarlord on, new friend of the channel, outstanding. Any last words there, Jesse?
No. It's it's always interesting keeping it together during the shifts in the market and to see what the developers are going to do. And we've seen progress on a few fronts. And yeah, it was great to enjoyed having our guest on for sure. So that was good as well.
Right on. And what about you, Ray?
Yeah, stay strong out there. You know, it goes a long way. Liking, subscribing, just keeping in touch. Shout out to everyone who's a regular watching on the stream live, and giving you feedback, asking questions, and sharing where you can with who you can. So we definitely appreciate you all. Join Rome, continue these types of conversations. You know, yeah, we're a guild of gamers. You know, this isn't a scholarship type of guild model, but we are gamers that are ready to go. So we have our structures, and yeah, more info to come on that soon enough. So appreciate you guys.
Right on, Ray. And what do you got for last words there, Fancy?
Yeah, thanks for anyone who's still here with us. Cheers.
Right
We'll
on.
be here next week.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I guess I'm that contrary person to where bear markets actually make me more excited than the bull runs do. You know, for me, it's all opportunity. You know, everything calms down, everything slows down. You can see better. There's not as much distractions, and you know, the people who made money in this past cycle in 2020 and 2021 were all people who were in 2017, 2018. You know what I mean? And it's going to be the same in 2024. So I'm looking forward to the future. It looks bright. Shout out to the community out there. Have fun, and we'll see you guys all next Sunday. Same time, same channel.
Bye-bye.
Atlas Miner, you were born to push the block in search of ore. And now it's time that you are gone. So farewell, Atlas Miner. And farewell, Mud and Oni too. Who's the sector same to you? The pirate bastards ran him through. So farewell, Atlas Miner. They promised you a diamond mine, but I'll be damned, it's hard to find. I hope there's justice for their crimes. And farewell, Atlas Miner. And farewell, friend, don't take it hard. Getting killed ain't all that bad. They'll treat you well in the repair yard. So farewell, Atlas